Hi, welcome back. This is part 13 of PHP for Beginner series. In this tutorial, we're gonna learn comparison operators in PHP. Comparison operators are used to compare two values. There are many comparison operators available in PHP. Let's see one by one. So open Notepad++. As I said, it is used to compare two values. So let's create two variables and store values inside them. To create first variable, give name as number1 and assign value as 10. Create another variable and give name as number2 and assign value as 10. So the first comparison operator is equal to operator, and it is denoted by double equal to symbol, and it returns true if both the values are equal. Comment it, this is just a description about it. So here we have two variables and some values stored in them. Let's say I want to check whether two variables have equal values or not. So for that I can use equal to operator. So first write variable1 equal to operator, that is double equal to sign, and variable2. So here I am checking whether the variable1 is equal to variable2 or not, and to check the result I have to print it. So write echo. From the above values of these two variables, we know that number1 and number2 is equal. It should be number2. From the above values we can say that value of number1 and number2 are equal. So this expression should return true. Now let's save it and run it. Let's see what will it display. Run it. It is showing 1. 1 means true. Now in this way we can check for all other comparison operators whether the comparison is true or not. All we have to do is to replace this operator by any other operator we want to check. Most of the time comparison operators are used for decision making in programming. So in the previous video we have seen the if else condition. So most of the time these comparison operators are used with if else condition. So first let's write if and make its body. Now after that else. And here in the previous video we have seen that we write here condition. Here we write condition by using comparison operators. As of now we are talking about equal to operator, so just take this and paste here and just comment it. Now here this is the condition of if. As we know that if this returns true, then whatever statements in the if condition will be executed. Let's print number1 is equal to number2. If it is true, then it should display number1 is equal to number2, or if it is not true, then it should display number1 is not equal to number2. Right here number1 is not equal to. As we know that number1 and number2 are equal, that is because they both have the same value, that is 10. So this expression will return true. In the previous video we have seen that if the condition returns true, then the if part is executed, otherwise else part is executed. So here since this is true, so it will return true, and if it returns true then this part will be executed. So let's save it and run it. Here it is showing 10 is equal to 10. It is showing the value of variable, but here we have written the variable name. That is because if we use double quote, then the variable name will be replaced by its value. Now let's change the value of number2. Now let's check it. Now we know that number1 and number2 are not equal because number1 has value 10 and number2 has value 20. So this condition will return false. And if this condition returns false, then the else part will be executed. So here now it should display this part. Now let's save it and run it. Now it is showing 10 is not equal to 20. Now the second comparison operator is not equal to. It is denoted by exclamation mark equal to symbol, and it returns true if both the values are not equal. So it is exactly opposite of equal to operator. This line. Now here let's replace this equal to operator by not equal to operator. So exclamation mark equal to. This indicates not equal to operator. Now here not equal to operator will check whether the number 1 is not equal to number 2. We know that number 1 is not equal to number 2. That is because number 1 has value 10 and number 2 has value 20. So this will return true. And if it returns true, then the number is not equal to number 2. So we have to swap these statements and this will come here. Now this expression will return true, that is because number 1 is not equal to number 2. So this part will be executed. So let's save it and check it. 10 is not equal to 20. Now let's make it 10. Now save it. Now this expression will return false. That is because they are equal to. Here we are checking for not equal to. This part will become false. So the else part will be executed. So let's save it and run it. 10 is equal to 20. So this part is executed. Now the third comparison operator is identical operator. And it is denoted by triple equal to symbol. And it returns true if both the values are equal and they are of same type. Replace this not equal to by identical operator. Here it will check whether the number 1 is equal to number 2. They both are equal because they both have the value as 10. Now the second is type. Here we know that these both are integer values. So the second condition is also true. This expression will return true. If it is true, then it will go to the if part. And here I have to print they are identical. Number 1 is identical to number 2. Identical to number 2. And here it is not identical to number 2. So this part will be executed. Now let's check it. 10 is identical to 10. Now just make the value of number 2 as string. Put the value of number 2 in double quotes. Now it become string. That is because it is in single quote. Now when this part is executed, so we know that number 1 and number 2 are equal. That is because they have the same value. But here the type of number 1 is integer. But here in this case, for number 2, the type is string. So they are not of same type. So this will return false and else part will be executed. So let's check it. 10 is not identical to 10. Rather it should be number 1 is not identical to number 2. So just remove double quote and put it in single quote. Save it and run it. Now it is looking more meaningful. Now the next is greater than. And it is denoted by this symbol. And it returns true if the value at left side is greater than value at right side. Now replace this identical operator by greater than operator. Here this condition will check whether the number 1 is greater than number 2. So first make it as integer and change its value to 20. Now it will check whether the number 1 is greater than number 2. Number 1 is 20 and number 2 is 10. So we know that number 1 is greater than number 2. So this part will be executed. So just write number 1 is greater than number 2. And here is not greater than. Replace single quote by double quote. Since this condition is true, so it will goes here and this part will be executed. Run it. 20 is greater than 10. Now just replace the value. Now number 1 is 10 and number 2 is 20. So the number 1 is not greater than number 2. So this condition will return false. So if it returns false, then it will go to here and this part will be executed. Let's save it and run it. 10 is not greater than 20. Now the next is greater than or equal to operator. And it is denoted by greater than symbol followed by equal to symbol. It returns true if the left value is either greater than or equal to true. Let's change the value of number 2 from 20 to 10. So when this condition is evaluated, then we know that number 1 is equal to number 2, but it is not greater than number 2. So still this condition will return false and this part is executed. But there are situations when we want to check whether it is greater than or equal to. So in that case we have to use greater than equal to operator. First check it whether this condition returns true or not. We know that it is false, so this part should be executed. Just add one equal to. Now it became greater than or equal to. Now we know that number 1 is not greater than number 2. but still it is equal to number 2, so this will return true, so this part will be executed. Just change the text inside it. Save it and run it. 10 is greater than or equal to 10. 10 is not greater than, but still it is equal to 10, so this condition is evaluated as true. Now the next is less than operator, and it is denoted by this symbol. It returns true if the value at left side is less than value at right side. That is exactly opposite of greater than operator. So replace greater than equal to symbol by less than symbol and change the message inside this echo. Now here the value of number 1 is 1 and value of number 2 is 10. As we know that 1 is less than 10, so this condition will return true and this part will be executed. So let's save it and run it. It should display number 1 is less than number 2. 1 is less than 10. Now replace the values here. Now here when this condition will be evaluated, then it will return false. That is because here the number 1 is 10 and number 2 is 1. But number 1 is not less than number 2. In this case the else part will be executed. So let's save it and run it. 10 is not less than 1. Now the next is less than equal to. It will return true if the value at left side is either less than or equal to right side value. And it is denoted by less than symbol and equal to. Now here just add equal to. Now it became less than equal to operator and replace here the value by 1. Here when this condition will be evaluated, then it will check whether the number 1 is less than number 2. As both the value is 1, so number 1 is not less than number 2. Then it will check whether these are equal or not. Since these are equal, then it will return true. So the if part will be executed. So let's change the message. Now run it. 1 is less than or equal to 1. That is true. Let's change the value here from 1 to 10. Now when this condition will be evaluated, then first it will check whether the number 1 is less than number 2. Since the number 1 is 10 and number 2 is 1, so number 1 is not less than number 2. Then it will check whether they are equal or not. Since 10 and 1 is not equal, so ultimately this condition will become false. If it is false, then the execution will go to else part and this part will be executed. Save it and run it. 10 is not less than or equal to 1. That is true. Now that's it for this video. If you liked my video, then please like, comment, subscribe and share. This will help for the growth of my channel.